why you people please, and how to finally stop. What if the reason you feel exhausted, disconnected, and not fully yourself is because you've been living your life for other people? Saying yes when you really want to say no, holding back what you really think, trying to be who you think others need you to be so you don't lose them. On the surface, it sounds like kindness. It looks like being easygoing, thoughtful, and selfless. But underneath it, there's something else driving it. It's fear. Fear of disappointing people, fear of being judged, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment. And if you really look at it, people-pleasing is not about being nice. It's actually about trying to stay safe. People-pleasing doesn't come from nowhere. It is a learned behavior. At some point in your life, you picked up the idea that being yourself was not enough, that love and approval and belonging were conditional, that you had to earn them. Maybe you were praised when you were being agreeable, easy, helpful, or accommodating. Maybe you were criticized and rejected or even ignored when you expressed your needs, your opinions, or your emotions. And slowly you adapted. You learned to read the room, to anticipate what others wanted from you. And you had to adjust yourself accordingly. Not because you're weak, but because at the time it actually worked. It kept you connected. Most importantly, it kept you safe. At the core of people-pleasing is a very simple but very powerful fear. If I disappoint them, they won't like me. If I speak up, they'll judge me. If I set a boundary, they will reject me. If I show them who I really am, I could lose them. And for a lot of people, that fear doesn't feel like a small risk. It feels like literal survival. Because your nervous system is not just reacting to the present moment, it's reacting to past experiences where rejection or disconnection felt really painful, just overwhelming or even unsafe. So now your system tries to avoid that pain at all costs. And the strategy it uses is people-pleasing. This doesn't always look obvious. In fact, a lot of people don't even realize they're doing it. It looks like saying yes when you really want to say no. You overcommit, you avoid conflict, you go along with plans that you don't actually want. You're not sharing your true opinions. Maybe you're constantly seeking approval or reassurance. Do you feel responsible for other people's emotions? Have you ever apologized for things that aren't even your fault? Sometimes you over-explain yourself so people understand you. And sometimes you resent the very people you're actually trying to please. Because on one hand, you're trying to keep the peace, but on the other, you're abandoning yourself in the process. People-pleasing has a cost. It costs you your authenticity. You don't feel fully comfortable in your own skin because you're constantly adjusting who you are depending on who you're with. It costs you your voice. You stop expressing what you actually think, feel, and need. It even costs you your relationships because people are not actually connecting with the real you. They're connecting with the version of you that you think they want. It ends up costing you your entire life because you don't end up making decisions based on what you truly want. You make decisions based on how others will react to you. This is one of the most frustrating parts. You can do everything right. You can be kind, you can be accommodating, supportive, and still not get what you want. You can still feel unfulfilled, unseen, because at the end of the day, you're living for someone else. You're actually shaping your entire life around other people's expectations. And over time, creates this quiet sense of dissatisfaction, of feeling that something is off, that this isn't really your life. But it's hard to change because the moment you think about doing something different, the fear comes back. There's a reason this matters so much, because one of the most common regrets people have at the end of their lives is not living the life that they wanted to live, and they lived a life that others wanted for them. They look back and they realize that they were so afraid of judgment, so afraid of disappointing others, that they spent their entire life trying to meet expectations that were never truly theirs. So they played it safe. They stayed agreeable. They kept the peace. And in doing that, they lost themselves completely. That's the long-term cost of people-pleasing. It's not just discomfort, but total regret. And let's be honest, this doesn't just affect your choices. It affects your entire system. Mentally, it requires you to constantly overthink. You're replaying conversations, wondering if you said the right thing or not. And emotionally, you feel drained, you're resentful, disconnected from yourself. Physically, your body stays in a low-level state of stress. Your nervous system is always scanning for how to keep everybody happy. And over time, that adds up. It's anxiety, it's burnout, it's exhaustion. But because you're carrying the weight of trying to manage not just your own life, but everyone else's experience of you. So the big question is, how do you stop? It doesn't just start with setting boundaries or speaking up more. Those are outcomes. The real shift happens underneath, because to stop people pleasing, you have to face what you've been avoiding, the fear of being judged, the fear of being rejected, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear of potentially losing people that you care about. And this is where most people get stuck, because it's not just about changing behavior, it's about making peace with the possibility that your worst fears might actually happen if you become authentic. This is the real work. Can you be okay with someone not liking you? Can you be okay with someone being disappointed in you? Can you be okay with being judged, misunderstood, or rejected? Not because you want those things to happen, but because you're no longer willing to abandon yourself to avoid them. Freedom comes when you realize you can't control their perception, only your personal alignment. And this is where it becomes real. Because at some point, you have to show people who you truly are, what you actually think, what you actually feel, what you actually want. And when you do that, one of two things is going to happen. Some people may judge you. Some people may pull away. Some people may not like it. They may not even like you. And that's the part you've been trying to avoid your entire life. But something else can happen too. People can surprise you. They can respect you more. They can appreciate your honesty. They can love you for who you actually are, but you never gave them a chance because they've only ever known the version of you that was trying to please them. The goal is not to stop caring about people. It's to stop needing their approval for you to be okay. To shift from how do I make everybody else happy to am I being true to myself? Because when you're aligned with yourself, you naturally show up more clearly, more honestly, more confidently. And that changes everything. Your relationships become real. Your decisions become more intentional and your life becomes more yours. At the end of the day, people pleasing is not about other people at all. It's about your relationship with yourself. It's about whether you trust yourself enough to stand in your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it risks something, especially if it risks something, because the cost of not doing that is much greater. It's the slow erosion of who you are and the quiet realization over time that you have been living a life that doesn't fully belong to you. So maybe the question is not, how do I get everyone to like me? Maybe the question is, am I willing to be myself, even if it means that some people won't? Because when you answer that honestly, you step into something different. It's not perfection, it's not certainty, but it's freedom. The freedom to live your life. Not the one that keeps everyone around you comfortable, but the one that is actually yours. Thanks for watching this video today. If you get value from my content, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I don't want you to miss future conversations about awareness and emotional freedom and enlightenment. And if you really want to go deeper into the work, head over to my website at keithcrossley.com. I've got additional teachings and resources and coaching options, all designed to help you attain the highest levels of mental and emotional freedom. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.